I'll just thank you all again for coming, and I want you all, if you could, just give this brother, show him your complete attention. Don't think that we think that everything that we tell you, you're going to take to be the truth, right? So at the end of the conversation, you will have the opportunity to ask our brother questions, right? So with that, I want you to put your hands together. Let's bring him up with a rousing round of applause, Brother Ashton Muhammad.
Again, let's give our brother another hand for the pulpit. I thank Brother Herman for allowing me to come up here today. And like we say in the Christian church, I thank God for waking me up this morning in my right mind.
That's right.
So I thank God that I can stand before you today. And this God I'm speaking of is not a spook. He's not a mystery God. He's an all-wise and living God. He was so wise that he mastered the creation. You know, say, well, if he was the creator, you know, what do you mean he mastered the creation? Well, we're not talking about the creator. We're talking about the God that came to us in person, that had the spirit, indwelling spirit and power of God in him. He came and he mastered the creation. He was so wise, he pictured and extracted the language of the people on Mars.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Go ahead.
People on Mars. He spoke the language of the birds. He spoke to the wild beasts. He knew the language of the human family. He listened to you think. He knew our thoughts. But the heaviest thing that he did was to control the laws and master the laws of the universe and make the universe bow to his will. This is the kind of power he had. He came to North America, as the scripture said he was. He came by himself. He came alone. The book said that he would measure the earth and then give us the measurements. So when this one came, he shot to us a barrage of questions. Who is the original man?
That's right.
He asked, what is the square mileage of the earth? How much is the land? How much is the water? And then he gave us answers. He said the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth and God of the universe. He said the earth is 196,940,000 square miles.
Come on.
He said the water was 139,685,000 square miles.
Come on.
He said the land was 57,255,000 square miles.
Right.
Then he started running down the circumference, the diameter. He started running down the weight of the earth, the distance between the planets, the speed of the rotation of the planets, this planet and other planets. He told us about the speed of sound, the speed of light. He's saying all of this to us because he's saying, I'm the master of this.
Go ahead. Come on, brother.
He said, and I want to make you a master of this also. So I'm going to give you a flag. A flag that shows a master, not the stars and stripes.
Come on.
He said, I'm going to give you a flag that shows a master. I'm going to give you the sun, moon, and stars. And the only one qualified to wear that flag is a master. And you have to master the law of the universe to be qualified to wear that flag.
Come on.
I'm going to give you a flag because I am a master. And I'm going to make you a master. But before I make you a master, I have to find one among you and make him a master.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that one and put a black head over the black body. Say, now I know we got another book, but I know.
Come on.
I know that he said the way I look, he had to come the way he did because he had to come in unobserved. He had a black father but a white mother, but he had to come looking almost like the enemy so he could come in unobserved. He said, but I want to put a black head on that black body.
Come on.
He said, I'll be the head of the body, but I want to put a black head on that black body. So he searched, and the lost found members of the Nation of Islam, the so-called Negro. He searched in this land, and he found one that had only gone to the 3rd grade of school. He taught him for 3 years and 4 months. Then he went away. To prove that he's God, he leaves a man in charge that barely went to school and put him in charge. And that man confounded the scholars with what his teacher taught him.
Come on. Right.
To prove that he's God, he tells little Elijah what's on Mars. He tells him about the moon and the nature of the moon and how the moon got out there and when the moon was put out there. About how it was blown out there with high explosives. He told him all of this. And when Elijah revealed this, we didn't believe it. White folks didn't believe it. Then white folks went to the moon.
Come on.
Found rocks that looked just like the rocks on earth, and it smelled like gunpowder.
Right.
They went to the moon and proved that Elijah was right.
Right.
See, everything Elijah taught us was right and exact.
That's
everything was to the point. So who taught Elijah but a master?
All right.
God raised a lamb in the midst of wild beasts.
Go ahead.
But the wild beasts couldn't eat Elijah. Who is the God who shut the mouth of the beast but opened the mouth of Elijah? We have a God present. He's got power. And he put the messenger in power over the devil. So we give all praise to Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
And we bear witness to his exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
This is the one he put as the black head over the black body.
Right.
But then when he had to leave, he left someone with us. But I know a lot of it, we're taught as Christians that Jesus is coming back. But it was in the Council of Nicaea when Constantine brought all the religious scholars together and to make a decision on how we're going to teach about Jesus. And in that document called the Nicene Creed, they decided, they made up, it was their decision to say that Jesus said, I will come back and judge the living and the dead. Jesus never said that. Jesus said, I go away and you see me no more. But I pray the Father to send you another comforter.
All right.
That comforter, today, we know him as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So in their names, sisters and brothers, I greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow. Sir.
Now I open in this way for purposely to let you know that when we come up here and mention Master Fard Muhammad, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in this way, we're not just saying idle words because this is what we're taught to say. We mean what we say.
Right.
So we are taught in the Nation of Islam many things that we have not known. We're also taught some things that we used to know and forgot. We also taught things that we had was taken away from us in slavery. I know some say, well, y'all still talking about slavery. Yes, we're still talking about slavery because we're not prepared yet.
Right.
That's right.
They hurt us as a people. They destroyed us as a people. And that hasn't been repaired yet. So we're going to keep talking about it until it's repaired.
Right.
Now that I'm talking about it, we're going to be walking it too.
Yes, sir.
We lost the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the devil, and the knowledge of self. We lost our original language, our culture, our original culture, our folkways. We've lost the knowledge of how to govern our community.
Right.
We lost the knowledge of how to treat our spouses.
Right.
We lost the knowledge of the spouse, the science of business.
Right.
We lost the science of warfare.
Yes, sir.
And they won't teach it to us. The science of choosing a mate. There's a science behind that. We lost that. Also, the science of food, how to prepare your food, how to eat if you want a longer, healthier life.
Right.
It's also said that he will teach us what foods to eat and what foods to store in our houses. So the message today is on how to eat to live, like Brother said. I know something, but I've heard it before. Well, I'm going to go a little deeper into it. And I'll let you know why. I found a lot of information.
Come on.
I only have the tip of the iceberg here. And let you know that there's so much information out there, I couldn't put it all here. I just got a little bit of it. But inshallah, if it be God's will, you'll get some of what I'm trying to put out there, and you'll learn and be better, have a better life because of it.
Right.
Now the God came to give us life and life more abundant. But how is he going to do that? Because it's not magic. God is not a magician.
Come on.
A lot of us think when God said, let there be light, he said poof and the sun was out there. We turned God into a magician. No, it took trillions and trillions of years. I think like 76 trillion years to put all this creation together. So it took time because God had to build it, he had to create it.
Yes, sir.
So now, he's not a poof God, he's not a magician.
That's right.
To get life more abundant, you got to do something to have this. There's a cause for every effect. So if you want a more abundant life, there's a cause for that. You can't live an abundant life if sickness and disease interrupts it.
Right.
How can somebody with a stroke have abundant life? How if you fighting diabetes have an abundant life? You have to be rid of this to have that abundant life. So Allah taught His servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how to live. Now there are many naysayers who don't believe in what we say.
Come on.
Right.
But yet those same naysayers will believe that one day after they die, they're going to come moving the stone back like in Michael Jackson Thriller. They're going to get up and start dancing in the street, sprout wings, and then go flying off into the sky. They'll believe that.
Come on.
They don't believe that we can fast for 7 days. You can't do that. You'll die.
Right.
I did a couple of 9 days. Some brothers and sisters here did like 14 days. Well, I said, well, Jesus did 40 days. Yeah, but that's Jesus. Yeah, but Jesus said, greater things than I do that you will do.
That's
Right.
what he said.
But you know how people, and this is something, because we destroy people. It's not a put down, it's just something that happens. A lot of our people ask us for proof. Show me the proof of what you're saying about how to live. I say, well, here you go.
Come on.
Got it right here. No. Show me some real proof. So what did they ask? They asked, if you can show me a white man to agree with this, then I'll say that's proof.
Right.
Right.
And I mean,
Right.
I hate to say it, but that's what's in our mind.
Right.
You know the white man's sugar is sweeter, his ice is colder. You know that. Because that's how we were part of our destruction, to think that everything he has is better. So we have to get proof from him. Now I chose this subject. I'll tell you briefly why I chose the subject. Because just recently I went through next belt testing in martial arts. It was right at the end of Ramadan. And right at the end of Ramadan I noticed I lost about 10 or 12 pounds.
Right.
And in that testing that I did for my belt, I injured myself. I injured Achilles. And I mean, I was in a boot for a couple of weeks. I was walking on a cane. I mean, and it got to the point where I said, wait a minute, I lost this weight. I'm feeling a lot better, doing better, but I'm going to gain it all back because I can't work out anymore because of my leg. But if I lost the weight during Ramadan, maybe if I keep doing that,
Right.
then I could either maintain or lose more.
Right.
And when we look at Ramadan, the way Ramadan is, if you don't know, what it is you for 30 days you don't eat or drink during the daylight hours. And after the sun goes down, then you eat and drink. Now, so I continued that. I did drink water and tea during the day, but I did continue the food thing to not eat until the sundown. And there's a couple, two or 3 hour window that I eat in. Now, really, when you look at Ramadan, it's really just eating 1 meal a day. It's not that you're fasting over a prolonged period of time.
Right. Come on.
You're fasting from the time you finish eating till the next day, sundown.
Right.
And white people have called it, given it a name. They call it intermittent fasting.
Right.
Right.
Now a friend of mine, I just tell you about a friend of mine, he at one time he collected movies. We have lunch every couple of months in Colorado Springs. And when he was collecting movies, he could tell you all about the movies, because when he collected something, he gets into it. He researches everything. He also collects watches. He can tell you about the watchmaker, about the inner workings of the watch. He can even do some of the maintenance on the watch because he researched, and he does. When he goes into a hobby, he goes all out.
Come on.
He also got into what they call the keto diet. And he got into that because he wanted to lose some weight. And he studied, and then we having lunch, he's telling me, because I see he's lost a lot of weight. And he's telling me about the keto diet, and about how you reach ketosis and all the ketones and all this kind of stuff. And as he's talking to me, he's telling me about this keto diet, which is that one thing, you cut out sugar, cut down on your carbs. But the main thing is you set a window to eat. If he set his window from 4 to 8, you can eat between there, but not afterwards. So basically, he's fasting from the time he finishes to the time he starts again.
Right.
In the keto diet, they call it intermittent fasting. So when I know the way he researched, I said, well, let me do some research on this too, this intermittent fasting. I went in and just on YouTube, I found hundreds of things. As I said, I just got a little bit here.
Right.
I mean, people give me, this is my before, this is my after. I went on the OMAD diet, and the OMAD diet for 30 days, and this is what I did. I went on the OMAD diet for a year, and this is what happened. This is my before and after. The OMAD diet.
Right.
OMAD diet.
Come on.
OMAD.
Yeah.
Come on.
Talk about it.
What is that? One meal a day.
Come on.
Now, white folks came up with the OMAD diet. And they just came up with it a few years ago. About 4 or 5 years ago, they came up with this. Now, they started with just losing weight. They found out how much you can lose weight. But then they found it had a lot of healing properties to it.
Right.
They even said you can live a longer life.
All right. Right.
And if they just figured this out 5 years ago, how do you know you're going to live longer?
All
I
right,
wonder.
bring it.
What have they been reading?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, also, I had a medical checkup early in the year, and I found out that I was pre-diabetic. They say my cholesterol is high, blood pressure is high, A1C is high, and the doctor said, I'm going to give you this medicine. I said, okay. He prescribed it. Of course, when that was for a checkup, when I went back in to take care of my foot that I injured, of course they go in and take your blood pressure and everything else. They took my blood pressure. Okay? So when they took my blood pressure, it was lower. And then a couple of weeks later, I went back for a recheck on my foot, came back, blood pressure is normal. He said, how you like that medicine I prescribed for you? I said, I never went and got it. He didn't even question me. He just went back to what he was doing.
Right.
He didn't say, why did you take, because when he told me that my A1C and the blood pressure high and everything else, I said, I know what I got to do.
Right.
I got to follow my instructions, man.
Right.
I've been fighting eating one meal a day all ever since I've been knowing about it. But I notice every time I go through Ramadan, I'll lose 10, 12 pounds. Well, why don't you stay on one meal a day?
Right.
So since that time, a couple of months ago, I lost about 10 or 12 more pounds. I don't know if y'all remember when I was 265. I'm about 220 now. So I might have to get some new suits. We're starting to fit a little loose. Now, this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, in the 40s and the 50s, how to eat to live. How to, eating one meal a day, one meal every other day, or one meal every 3 days. But the white man took it, he put a name on it, and claimed it. But that's what white folk do.
Right.
They'll take our inventions and do the same thing.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Everything they want, they'll take it, put their name on it, and claim it as their own. They do it with our music, with our dance. Everything good we do, they'll take it. If you don't watch out, they'll take it. Now, as a reference, remember Hippocrates, Greek fellow, known as the father of medicine.
Right.
Early accounts of Hippocrates, you see him studying. He's going to Africa studying the writings of Imhotep.
Right.
All right, bring it.
But yet, he's the father of medicine.
Right.
Imhotep, in the Hippocratic Oath, which is named after Hippocrates, in the Hippocratic Oath, they pay homage to God Asclepius or Asclepius. I've heard it pronounced both ways. So the god Asclepius is Imhotep. Mm-hmm. They gave him a Greek name.
Right. Of course they did.
Okay, they name things. That's what they do. But what is the science behind it? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us eat one meal a day, one meal every other day, one meal every 3 days. He said that you will be healthier. You will have a younger appearance. You live longer. You won't be sick as much, probably may not be sick at all. Now he told us all of this, but he didn't give us the signs. God told him, Master Fard Muhammad told him, he told us. We follow, if those of us who did follow instructions, you see them now, 70, 80 years old, but looking young.
Right.
You know, so, but he didn't give us the signs. But white folks now are bearing witness by giving you the signs. And that's what I researched on. Now, white folks used to always tell us, eat 3 meals a day, right?
Right.
And they tell us the breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
That's right.
It is called break fast.
Right.
Because you've been fasting all night. No, you've been sleeping all night. But you've been fasting all night, and you're breaking the fast in the morning. So that's the most important meal. But then you eat 3 meals a day, and around 2 or 3 o'clock, you start getting, you know, kind of sleepy and about to crash out. Get you a snack.
All right, bring it.
Get you, you know, the snack to help you wake up, to give you energy. And then after you eat supper or dinner, whatever you want to call it, then you gotta have your midnight snack.
All right.
They're teaching you to eat all day.
All day.
We'll get to that. So what is the science behind it? By doing the OMAD diet, 1 meal a day. This is what white folks say. I'm gonna do a lot of reading here because of research. I'm gonna tell you what they said. When you eat is more important than what you eat. Remember that window?
Right.
It has an accelerated fat burn. It eliminates hunger because after a few days of the OMAD diet, the body gets used to it and does not produce ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hormone that's produced in the stomach that increases the appetite and stimulates the release of growth hormones. Ghrelin is called the hunger hormone. I'm gonna get to the insulin a couple more times. But right now, it decreases insulin, decreases inflammation. If you control the insulin and bring it way down, you can control inflammation and bring it way down. Insulin is directly responsible for how the body burns and stores fat, or how you increase issues with inflammation, disease, or joint pain. Remember the commercial that you hear about now that says, you have that stubborn belly fat, it could be insulin resistance. They didn't tell you what that meant, did they?
No.
They just tell you insulin resistance, and you say, oh, that must be important. But we don't know what it is. We'll cover that. With insulin control, you can have a better mood and better cognitive ability. Better mood and better and able to think better. On 1 meal a day, you decrease blood pressure. And it's huge on this thing called autophagy. A-U-T-O-P-H-A-G-Y, if you want to go look it up. And I'll cover that a few more times in this. Autophagy is the way God created your body. When you go into a fasting state, it increases autophagy. Autophagy takes the damaged cells and damaged protein, cleans them up, and recreates your body at a cellular level. Autophagy is present after 12 to 14 hours of fasting. Now remember, if you have a window where you have a 4-hour window, that means you're fasting for 20 hours.
Yes, sir.
That means after 12 or 14 hours, autophagy jumps in. The body uses old, dead, damaged cells, recycles them. For example, skin cells cause sagging skin. Dead skin cells cause sagging skin. When these cells are used by the body, you look younger.
Wow.
Didn't Elijah Muhammad said you have a younger appearance?
Right.
But white folks telling us why. They're bearing witness to the teachings of Elijah Muhammad.
All right, bring it.
On 1 meal a day, they say you have mental clarity. Now this all started as weight loss, but then it went into, they started checking it out and they found out that there was a property in it for disease prevention. It prevents Alzheimer's, prevents Parkinson's, dementia. They're even now saying that it could be a cure for cancer. We'll cover that a little more in a little bit. See, white folks, they're studying the possible disease reversal. It's controversial because the study of cancer cells, they say cancer cells are actually starved when you fast.
Right.
And they wind up dying off. That's what they're checking into now. And also a lot of the disease you get comes from the gut. If you got a lot of bacteria and everything else, it can cause a lot of problems. So by not eating all day, the digestive tract gets some rest. It gets a chance to push out all the poisons that you put in it on the last meal. So you don't have as much disease inside your body. It fixes metabolism. This is still what they're saying. It increases HGH, which is a human growth hormone. And what does a human growth hormone do? Human growth hormones build lean muscle. It burns stubborn body fat. It enhances sexual performance, I'll say.
Go ahead.
Come on.
It heals wounds faster.
Right.
It helps manage diabetes. It improves your eyesight. Increases bone density. Increases hair growth. I can use that. Increases muscle mass. Increases metabolism. You can lose weight, lower your blood pressure, lower cholesterol, and reduce stress.
Come on.
With HGH. That's during fasting. On one meal a day, when speaking about the OMAD diet, there's a nephrologist, Dr. Jason Fung, and he was speaking of a Dr. Mark Madsen, who was an expert. So when Jason Fung was speaking about Dr. Mark Madsen, I looked him up too. And I found, so I put their stuff together in this to save time. Just to show you what his letters were, Dr. Mark Madsen wrote a book, many books. One of the books he wrote is The Intermittent Fasting Revolution, The Science of Optimized Health and Enhancing Performance. This is a book. This boy's bad. He served as chief of the Laboratory of Neuroscience at the National Institute of Aging, and currently he is adjunct professor at neuroscience at Johns Hopkins University.
Come on.
He got letters. Areas of study, he's the aging of the brain and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Some of his accolades are the Alzheimer's Association Zenith Award, the Metropolitan Life Foundation Mechanical Research Award, and the Santiago, if I can pronounce correctly, Krezokia Chair Prize. He's got all these accolades, he's got the awards, he's got the letters. Dr. Madsen posted in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2019, like 3 years ago. I'm telling you, they just figured this out. He says, intermittent fasting improves multiple markers of cardiovascular health, including blood pressure and cholesterol. He went on to say that it may play a role in preventing cancer,
Come on.
Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, not to mention weight loss and type 2 diabetes. So when you don't eat, your insulin level goes down. Let's get back to the insulin. When you don't eat, your insulin level goes down, which acts as a diuretic, which means anything you need to pass out, you just pass it out in the urine. And your blood pressure starts to fall because you lose salt and water. At the same time, your growth hormones go up. Remember, I just talked about growth hormones. Your epinephrine goes up. You activate the sympathetic nervous system, so your body gets flooded with energy. This is why people lose weight, because their metabolic rate is being maintained. Now, this is a scientist. If you didn't want to believe the messenger, okay, we got somebody to back him up. Now, Dr. Fung continues. When we don't have anything to eat, our body switches to using our body fat and our blood sugar, which gives us more energy. This is the reason why we carry body fat. It is a store of food calories, and if we don't have anything to eat, we access that. Every time you eat, your body releases insulin. If insulin is high, your body will still store calories. Insulin tells the body that energy is coming in and you need to store some of this, and it turns off fat burning. This is too much insulin. It turns off fat burning. That's what they're talking about when they say insulin resistance. Dr. Fung speaking of an experiment that was done with subjects that had type 2 diabetes. He said they took these subjects and for 6 months they did a study. They gave them insulin each day. and then cut their calories by 300 each day. For 6 months they did this. Now, they went from 0 insulin to giving them 100 units of insulin each day. Cut their calories by 300. And over that 6 months, on average, each one gained 20 pounds. Now, so, for example, he says, you're eating 2,000 calories a day and you drop to 1,700 calories a day. But the insulin tells your body to use 1,000 calories and store 700.
All right.
It tells the body to store it because that's what insulin is supposed to do.
Come on.
Because your body is not accessing all 1,700 calories, the body feels tired. You're not mentally sharp, and the body calls for more energy, which means you're hungry all the time and you want to eat more and more.
All right.
This is why when we eat 1 meal a day, we shouldn't snack all day. Because every time we snack, that turns on the insulin pump. And the insulin, whatever you eat, it takes part of it and stores it as fat. And what you think you're getting energy out is the energy bar, you don't get it. Because the insulin takes part of it and stores it. And so you got to eat more, and you got to eat more. And so you're eating all day, trying to build your energy up. The insulin is taking it, and you're getting fatter, and you're wondering what's happening. That's what's happening. I remember a brother back in Colorado Springs, he said, I eat 1 meal a day. He's a brother new in the nation. He said, I eat 1 meal a day. He said, but I eat a bowl of oatmeal every morning. I've been doing that ever since I was a child. But I don't consider that a meal. You don't. But your body does.
Yeah, that's right.
You eat a candy bar, oh, that's not a meal. Your body says it is.
That's right.
And every time you eat something, insulin's pumped out. That's why if you don't eat for a prolonged period of time, the weight drops because it's not storing it. Now, there's a study at USC, University of Southern California, about stem cells. It says during the fasting period, white blood cells are broken down during fasting, which in turn forces the stem cells in your body to produce more. Stem cells form daughter cells, and the new cells get stronger each time they are produced. So each time that we fast, we develop stem cells that heal the body.
All right.
And they are stronger than the last batch. Fasting also decreases what's called pKa. We're not going to get into what pKa is because we're on time. But we just need to know that this compound needs to be inactivated for stem cells to be activated. Stem cells are recruited from various parts of the body, especially from bone marrow, to start to build a new immune system. Come back to that. Again, in this study at USC comes up autophagy again. It's basically called cellular recycling. It's almost like old cells are being cannibalized to become stronger. Wasteful components are being consumed by other cells during a period of stress. With fasting, we're putting your body through stress. You're putting your body through stress. And this stress is a good thing because it's helping your body get stronger, so your cells get stronger and more efficient. Now, also, the Journal of Applied Physiology. See, I'm getting this from these people, this research, these areas. I'm not making it up. Okay? The Journal of Applied Physiology. It says when you are fasting a long period of time, over 48 hours, now we're talking about, 1 meal a day. Now we're talking about 1 meal every other day or 2-day fast, and we're getting to a 3-day fast in a minute. So when you are fasting a long period of time, over 48 hours, there is a 3 to 5 time increase in what is called brain drive neurotrophic factor, BDNF for short. Now, it didn't say 3 to 5%, it said 3 to 5 times. BDNF is like fertilizer for the brain. If we have more BDNF, we have more nerve growth factor, which strengthens neural connections, which means that we are actually creating more neurons. So literally, our brain is getting more active, we are getting smarter. This is why you can focus more when you're fasting.
All right.
This is called a hormetic response. This is the body's response to stress. what this means is, whenever we have stress on our brains, the brain would do whatever it can to issue protective measures, which means, in effect, the brain gets stronger. In this case, we're stressing the brain because it isn't getting enough fuel. So it's getting the ability to adapt so that when we do come off our fast, our brain is left with something more powerful. Just like, and here's an example just to give, just like if you were training for a marathon and then you're asked to run a 5K race. The 5K will be easy.
Yes, sir.
This is how the brain functions under high levels of BDNF. And again, on one meal every 48 hours. After 12 to 14 hours, again, they mentioned autophagy. The body regenerates itself, recycles those cells. It helps us to keep from getting sick. Now, when you fast longer than 18 or 24 hours, you're going to produce ketones. This is what the brother was telling me about the keto diet. He said it produces ketones, which is your body's natural source of fuel when you don't have food coming in. Ketones have a hormone-like healing property. Now, the Journal of PLOS One performed a study and the results showed for a 72-hour fast, the ketone level was 15 to 20 times higher. I didn't say 15-20%. I said 15 to 20 times higher, indicating that there is a significant increase in ketones in the blood when you pass 24 hours. This high level of ketones during an extended fast actually helps heal the body, get you more energy, and help the body burn energy in a clean fashion. So if you are commonly having crashes at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, this is what they say, an extended fast can reverse this whole system and actually break this problem.
All right.
One meal every 72 hours, Dr. Eric Berg. Sounds like a Jewish fellow. That's okay. We get knowledge from wherever.
That's right.
When I had some radical surgery many years ago, I had a Jewish doctor. I prayed for that boy. And he came through. Dr. Eric Berg, and he wrote this on June 21st, 2020. Remember, they just got this. That's 2 years ago. He said there are benefits. He said, growing a new immune system. He said, I'll get back to that. Dr. Berg says this. He mentioned, it was mentioned earlier in the USC study. He said, if you do this periodically, a 3-day fast periodically, he suggests once a month. A 3-day fast once a month. He suggested that. Whenever he got that from. It said it boosts your white blood cells. It's going back to your autophagy again. It boosts your white blood cells. The white blood cells clean up debris and kill viruses and bacteria. Also go around and eat different pathogens. This mechanism that I mentioned previously is called autophagy. So when we fast, this mechanism goes after all the white blood cells that are inefficient and aren't working, that are taking up space, and cleans them out, creating space for new white blood cells. This periodic fasting also enhances T cells, especially the T regulatory cells. I don't have time to go into all that. Look it up. It's right there. They'll tell you. Another name for the T regulatory cells, or Treg cells as they shorten it, is the T suppressor cells. It's another name for it because it suppresses the the overactive immune system. As in a situation when you have too much inflammation that's causing a lot of collateral damage. So the Treg cells strongly suppress inflammation. In periodic fasting, it also supports B cells, which has a lot to do with creating antibodies and developing memory from infections that you had, so you will be ready for the next infection.
All right.
You know what that means? That's what a vaccine is.
Yes, that's right.
If you take a flu vaccine, what do it do? Take dormant flu virus and put it in your body. So the body fights that. When it sees it, it fights it. And then it develops a memory that when I see a virus like that again, I'm going to attack it. So that when the flu comes in, it attacks it immediately. That's the way it's supposed to work. So yes sir. You look good to sweat. Thank you, sir. So if you want to enhance your immune system, you definitely want to do periodic prolonged fasting.
All right.
Wow.
So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a third grade man, taught us to eat one meal a day.
Right.
One meal every other day, or one meal every 3 days. He taught us about fasting. He taught us about how to make us healthier, that we wouldn't be sick, or wouldn't get sick, or wouldn't get as sick. We'd be mentally sharp, we'd live longer. He told us that. He said we will look younger. He said this 80 years ago. The book was written 65 years ago.
All right.
White folk figured it out 5 years ago.
Right.
Who got the real God?
Come on. Right.
Yes, sir.
That's all I got to say. I thank you for listening. I pray that something I said, you got something out of it. This is my prayer. I didn't want to speak. I wanted God to speak through me. If He did, then you got something out of it. All praise be to Allah. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow.
Now, are there any questions on what I said today? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to ask you, is it so much once a day or what you eat once a day? Do that play a part in it?
Yes, what you eat also plays a part. But I'm going to tell you this. It's like I said, it's not so much what you eat, it's when you eat. You want to eat healthy food. You do want to do that. You do want to cut out the sugar. I'm working on that. I like cookies. I like that. But during Ramadan, I noticed that I eat whatever food that my wife cooks, and I eat a lot of it. I mean, I eat a lot of it, and and then I'll eat a dessert. Might eat a couple of desserts. I still lose weight.
Right.
But only do it once a day.
Once a day.
Okay.
When you eat is better than what you eat, but you do want to eat healthy food
Okay.
because you do want to, give yourself the best because God gave you a body
Right.
to carry your spirit. Because what you see here is not me. I am what's on the inside.
That's right.
But what's on the inside can't get around if I didn't have this. So I got to take care of this.
That's right.
So eating healthy food takes care of this. Eating in the right way, the right manner takes care of this. So, yes, you want to eat the best foods. You really double up on it when you eat the best of foods and you eat what that one meal a day.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Sorry, I got the band late.
Okay, you can sit down, brother.
That's all right. Is it better to eat like right before you sleep?
It does.
Like,
I've heard that you don't want to eat right before going to bed.
well, I mean like
but-
an hour or so
Yeah.
before.
But if you set a window, say if you set a 2-hour window, that means you're fasting 22 hours a day, so it don't matter. If you do that every day, if you kind of set a routine, if that's what the way you eat 10 o'clock at night, 10 to 12 is your time to eat. Okay? Then you don't eat until 10 o'clock the next night. Okay? That's when the autophagy and everything else, the stem cells, all that kicks in during that fasting time. And then once a month you might want to do a 3-day if you can do that. And if you can't do a 3, you start with 2, and then work up to 3. I fasted a couple of times at 9 days. And I fasted many times 7 days. Only done 9 days a couple of times because I was really troubled. There was time, and I just had to focus on the spiritual side, and I did that. Didn't hurt me.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Something like,
Oh, yes, sir.
oh. I would like, if you could remind me or us of the BDN.
BDNF?
Yes.
I have to read what that is, so you can maybe write it down and go look that up. Come on, find it. Oh, okay. It's called brain drive neurotrophic factor.
Thank you, sir.
Brain drive neurotrophic factor. If anything, anybody want to write down off what I have in my notes? That's why I wrote it down. I'm gonna try to memorize this stuff. They did it. I'll just read what they did. They're proving it. So if you have anything you want to write down, just get with me after. We'll go through the notes and you can write down. And like I said, do research. It's out there. It's not hard to do. This just came off, like I said, off of, what did I say? YouTube. I didn't even get into the, Googling and encyclopedias and everything else. It just came right off of YouTube. And these are doctors and, scientists bringing this up. So if you need to check with me after, now, make sure we write it down so we can do research on it. Brother Russell?
Yes, sir. Salaam alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
Messenger, he does describe raw fruit sometimes in the morning. So if we have raw fruit in the morning, is that considered a meal?
From what I see, I'm saying yes. Now we have to do some little research on that because once you eat something, yeah, it's a meal. So we have to see. On that together, we have to do a little more research on that. Yes.
I'm someone that has some of the medical issues already, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, that type of thing. How would you say they would go about starting the fast or introducing themselves to it?
Okay, well, if you are looking at fasting, because according to what the specialists say, according to what the messenger says, you can actually reverse diseases. You can do a reverse on diabetes. You can reverse cancer. That's what they're saying. Reverse Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. So if you really looking at one meal a day and you've been eating all day, you might have to break just one. Eat 2 meals a day for a while. And then break it down to one. And then if you want to do a prolonged fast, you might do the 1 meal a day for a while and then maybe fast 2 days. It's going to hurt you a little bit until you get used to it. You're going to be wanting some food. Because that ghrelin is going to be calling for food because that's what you're used to. But once you get used to it, I know that if I do a long fast, when I do a 7-day fast, the first day is the hardest for me. I'm hungry.
Yes, sir.
If I can get past that first day, I think I can fast forever. Because now I've told the mind has told the body, no, you're not getting any food, and I don't feel that hungry. Now, if it's like a 7-day fast, on that 6th day, I start feeling it again because I know food's coming because it's up here. So you can control that mentally. So did that answer your question, by the way? Because you go into it slowly. You don't just jump into a 3-day fast. Don't do that. Because you get headaches and all kind of stuff. Work into it. Start on your breaking down to 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day. Stay on that a while, then try a 2-day fast, then after a couple of months, a 3-day fast. That's how you kind of work your way into it. You don't just jump into that. Questions?
I was just kind of confused about fruit being a meal because I always was taught that a meal had 3 courses to it, like maybe a meat, 2 sides,
Yeah.
something like that. So anything that your body digests is considered a meal.
Yeah.
Candy bar,
Because
bag of chips, anything.
Because when it goes into the stomach, the body has to digest it. So whatever you put in is considered, the body considers it a meal. Because it has to do with what it does to digest it. It's not going to let it sit there and wait for the meat and the potatoes to come out. It's going to digest what's there. So anything you eat is a meal.
Wow, okay, thanks.
Questions? Okay, if anyone has any question, you may want to ask a question. Now, I'm as much of an expert as I've done research. Do the research on your own. Okay, and learn how to eat to live. Get this book also. My book is kind of old. I got it a long time ago. I need to follow a little closer. I had it so long. I even have this taped in here because it kind of fell apart. But we have How to Eat to Live books 1 and 2 back there.
Right.
Get these books, and the reason I opened the way I did to show you who we're dealing with. There's a God that we're dealing with who gave us this information. So it says from God in person. Now, you can go research it, or you can believe what God says.
All right.
Do both.
Right.
prove God right. You're not gonna prove him wrong.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And if you can prove God right, then you are more now driven to do what you were instructed to do, as I was. Like I said, I've been fighting this for many, many years. I had to go through an accident, a friend talking about a keto diet and all that kind of stuff, and the doctor said I'm pre-diabetic. All that together said, I need to get on my 1 meal a day. So I had to have a driver.
Yes,
Brother.
Salaam alaikum again.
Walaikum salam.
Briefly, the statement, apple a day keeps the doctor away from you. Is that true?
The apple is a powerful fruit, especially if you get an organic.
Right.
I'm just telling from my own knowledge. Because a lot of the fruit and stuff they give you now, they pumped it up and juiced it up and everything else. And if you can get an organic one, sometimes the organic one don't look as pretty as that big shiny, big old apple that big and shiny red. Apples don't shine. Come on, now. What's that they put on the apple to make it shine? But you get them little apples, and they're a lot better for you. Yes, apples have a lot of nutrients, vitamins, and everything in it. Yes, go and eat your apple with the rest of your meal. So while we're on the bean soup, remembering, I think in the book of Daniel, when they talked about, they would eat pulse and water. What is pulse? Navy bean. Just don't throw that in there too. Don't forget that bean soup. Yes, sir.
Yes, I had a question where in the How to Eat to Live, the messenger, he gives us the time that we're supposed to eat and the time we're not supposed to eat. So can you just elaborate on the time that we're supposed to eat?
And that's when the brother was telling me about his keto diet. He said that.
It's your brother Herman Supreme Style Muhammad. Just wanted to drop in and let you know what we have going on. In addition to our community work that we've been doing for years, and in addition to being the sole proprietor of Supreme Style Barbershop, where we've been serving the community for close to 25 years, now we've partnered up with an insurance company called Ethos in an effort to help our people with life insurance. That's something that we all need. I know it's something that we don't want to think about, but it is something that we all need if we want to leave anything to our loved ones when we leave this space. So do me a favor, click on the link or go to our website astar2.com and click on the Ethos page. We'll see you on the other side.